It's a critical challenge that we face.
The city of Spokane kicked out of the Regional Emergency Communication System. The decision isn't sitting well with city officials. What happened and what it means tonight.
Nobody came to us. No one made an effort.
People caught off guard by a new homeless site they say popped up in their neighborhood without warning or their knowledge. More on the decision and the reaction, new tonight.
Sunshine returns tomorrow, but we have to talk that dip in temperatures that takes us into the weekend.
KREM 2 News 10 at 10 begins now with Mark Hanrahan and Jeremy Legoo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. New tonight, a federal judge gave several states, including Idaho, the go-ahead today to proceed with a lawsuit to restrict the abortion drug Mifepristone. This is despite a Supreme Court ruling last June that the drug can stay on the market. The High Court ruled anti-abortion activists who brought the original suit did not have the legal standing to challenge the law. Now the states argue some moves by the FDA have allowed the flow of Mifepristone across their borders, undermining their own abortion restrictions. Washington State purchased a 3-year supply of the drug back in 2023 to help ensure its continued availability here in the state. All right, taking a break from the headlines, let's switch gears and take a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Jeremy, another chilly day today. Didn't see the sun today. What's in store for tomorrow?
Right? What was that all about?
I know, kind of rude.
Good news is I think we do get some sunshine tomorrow. We set at 27 degrees right now. 27, quite a bit cooler than we've been, but we still are under some of that cloud cover. When it comes to the fog, a little bit up in the Okanagan Valley, and that seems to be it this evening. A couple of spots of patchy fog down across the Palouse, and for the most part, it's just those temperatures staying pretty steadily in the mid-20s. That's because of some cloud cover overhead, but expect that to just continue to fall, or those temps to continue to fall. It's likely Deer Park winds up in the teens. We're clearing out. We still have some wind, we still have some stray cloud cover, and I think that's enough to keep us from dropping too much. So we fall back down into the low 20s, most widespread. Deer Park, Newport, teens. It's going to be a little bit cooler tomorrow. Still think we eke out the 30s, even if it's the low 30s, and that's thanks to some of that sunshine. Saturday, Sunday, 20s for highs, teens for lows.
All right, here we go. Jeremy, thank you very much. And now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. A Spokane woman involved in a brutal murder learned her fate today. Brenda Cross will spend 8.5 years in prison for helping to kill her daughter's ex-boyfriend. Last year, Cross and her fiancé, John Eisenman, both admitted to killing the 19-year-old victim and then leaving his body in the trunk of their car for a year. At the time, they claimed the boyfriend sold their daughter into a sex trafficking organization, although that has been disproven in court. Today, the judge handed down the maximum sentence for a manslaughter charge of 8.5 years. The victim's mother spoke in the courtroom today.
His suffering and crying out to die haunts me. This is my life sentence. Every night, I beg God, please let me go to sleep quickly.
Cross will also serve an additional 3 years of community custody upon release and must also follow up with mental health treatment. She also spoke in court during her sentencing.
I would also like to give my deepest and most sincere apologies to the family and friends involved. I have laid awake nearly every night thinking about all the lives that have been exploratory and are still affected by the choice I have made.
Meanwhile, John Eisenman was supposed to be in court with Cross today, but because of a scheduling problem, he is expected back in court next Thursday, January 23rd. The FBI is releasing more information about the 3 ballot boxes that were set on fire leading up to the November election. 3 ballot drop boxes were set on fire on 2 separate dates back in late October in Vancouver, Washington and Portland, Oregon. Hundreds of ballots were destroyed. The FBI now believes the suspect built the devices using thermite to set the ballot boxes on fire. That's a combination of metal shavings and iron oxide. The agency is worried the suspect could cause harm if they continue experimenting with it.
Sometimes use thermite to weld metal pieces together, but in the hands of someone who isn't focused on safety, thermite is extremely dangerous.
They are asking the public to be on the lookout for a dark-colored 2003 or 2004 Volvo that was caught on surveillance video. If you have any information, you're urged to contact police. David Lynch, the American filmmaker, writer, and artist who scored Best Director Oscar nominations, has died at the age of 78. Lynch is best known for his works Blue Velvet, The Elephant Man, Mulholland Drive, and Twin Peaks. The enigmatic artist preferred not to explain his complex, bewildering films, which included Wild at Heart, the 1990 Palme d'Or winner for the Cannes Film Festival, the 1977 horror film Eraserhead, and the 1997 mystery Lost Highway.
It's art. He is making stuff that is beyond like a Hollywood blockbuster. He's making like images on film that are meant to be art, and you don't always understand, like in a linear fashion, what art is.
His style of filmmaking prompted the term Lynchian, which Vanity Fair magazine described as weird, creepy, and slow. In his films, Lynch inserted the macabre and disturbing into the ordinary and mundane and heightened that impact with music. And in case you didn't know, Lynch was born in Montana but spent some of his childhood right here in the Lilac City. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. Less than a week after opening its doors, a downtown medical respite facility for the homeless is facing backlash. There are questions about its location and the lack of transparency around how it opened. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy spoke with people on both sides of the issue to find out more about how the decision was made.
Inside Westminster Church, that new 30-bed medical respite facility is up and running just steps away from Lewis and Clark High School. And as we are learning tonight, this is not the only piece of a new sheltering model in the city that's gaining an unwelcome reception. A house of worship, now home to continuing health care for Spokane's unhoused. It is one of a handful of new shelters under a new model opening citywide. Opening, some say, without enough public input.
It's a process we're still figuring out.
Zeke Smith's Empire Health Foundation is responsible for standing up each one under contract with the city. He says he told Spokane Public Schools and the neighborhood council the respite facility was coming before it accepted its first referred patients by a couple weeks.
The question of like what amount of time is, I think, a really important one, and not one that that we're like we have a solid plan for at this point. The reality is, if the engagement with stakeholders is largely going to be stakeholders that just don't want to see shelters, there's not a lot of value in having that kind of engagement. It's not really engagement at that point, it's just about notification.
A letter sent to LC families this week appears to show the district was somewhat taken off guard. The district declined to speak to us until leaders can meet with Empire to discuss how the facility could impact students. But they aren't the only ones looking for after-the-fact answers.
This is a neighborhood I've lived in for almost 30 years, yes.
Becky Williams lives across town and is now unwitting neighbor to a shelter.
Nobody came to us. No one made an effort.
She's not just sharing her space with more people. She says it's more drugs, more crime, more worry.
They have small children. They are absolutely devastated. This is right basically in their backyard.
Because as they say in real estate, location, location, location. And this location is within sight of Brown Elementary.
And when I have two grandchildren that go to the elementary school right here, what's the impact of all the heavy drug use that's going on now in this neighborhood?
But does the city or Empire have an obligation to tell you if a shelter is coming to a plot near you? No, says Dawn Kinder.
There are some codes around city-owned facilities. Absolutely. But, you know, your neighbor could purchase a home and decide to let people shelter there tomorrow.
A code that doesn't apply to shelters taking up residence in churches and non-city owned buildings.
It is not an obligation of providers or of us as the lead of this scattered site model to get permission from neighborhood councils. That's not built into statute or ordinance. And part of the challenge is that there are some folks, including leadership in neighborhood councils, who are just going to resist it no matter what.
So Williams is now joining with her neighbors on the unwelcome committee.
I'm just a grandma of 6. I am I don't have a great voice. I'm not even confident in doing this. I just know this does not feel right in how it was handled.
The city says 2 more of these scattered shelters are set to come online soon. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed yet. TikTok is on the clock. Why President-elect Donald Trump may be the one to save the social media giant. Plus, the city of Spokane may be kicked off the region's emergency dispatch network, causing city leaders to scramble. We're back in 90 seconds.